Hey everybody out there and welcome back to my garage. I have to apologize. I cut my video a little bit short on the double flare, and after all the comments that I've been getting, which seems to be every day, I appreciate them all, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and redo that video because it seems like a lot of people were left out in the dark when it came to the second part of doing that double flare. So, the bubble flare looks pretty good. You know, I went over that video again, and I didn't leave anything out, and again, going by the comments that everybody's left, that really helped them out a lot, and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to be everybody's favorite auto teacher, so I'm going to do the best that I can here with my camera. I did do another stand, so rather I built another camera stand, so hopefully this one works out a little bit better. So let's get started. What I did is brought out some more tools for you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, and again, I want to remind you guys that we are doing the double flare. Okay, bubble flare looks okay, and we do know that the bubble flare, just to kind of touch on that one again, the bubble flare is the more common of flares on cars today. However, that double flare is still being used quite a bit. So let's take a look. A couple tools I got set out here. You don't have to go fancy. This kit right here that is from Craftsman will work just fine. And this kit probably runs about 10 bucks. So don't go spending all your money. All right. I have my tubing cutter. Okay. And I have a tubing flaring or bending tool that's going to allow you to get those nice crisp bends. And maybe we'll do that after we're done with the flaring video. Okay, a couple pieces of line. Of course, we're going to be using 3/16 line because this is the most common that we see on cars. 3/16 double-walled steel tubing. There's already a flare on there, but I'm going to do the other end just so you see that I'm not cheating. Okay. I've got a file. All right. I kind of like to use a file. I'll show you how to do that. And of course, this is the kit that I'm going to be using. And really, there's no magic in this kit. Same as the Craftsman kit over there. This one just has a couple more pieces in it, and I've gotten a little bit comfortable with it over the year. And so that's what it looks like inside. This one has, of course, our die, and we're going to have our flaring tool. This does have a bender in there, however, I've never used it. Kind of comfortable with the other one. Let me bring that one back into the camera. This one I've really gotten comfortable with as a tech over the past, I don't even want to say how long, way too long. And of course we have like a deburring tool in this kit. This kit would probably set you back, I'm guessing probably about 30 bucks, but this has everything in there. It's really cool. So let me go ahead and reopen that again. And of course we have all of our bits that we're going to need, and they come in various sizes. So all right, let's go ahead and get this set up. I'm going to be using the bench vise. Most technicians do. Let me move you over here. I think this will be a little bit better of an angle. Okay. And I've seen at a few instances here and there where some technicians have tried to actually hold this in their hand. And I want you to imagine that, holding this in your hand while trying to fumble around and make this flare. You know, that's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just don't think you're going to get as quality of a flare. So if you can, if you have one, use a bench vise. Okay, you're going to get so much better results. So let's go ahead and get this all set up with our brake line. And on our flaring tool, what you're going to notice is that this is going to come in different sizes. Okay, and so if we look, and I can see that. We can see really large one, 1/2 inch, 5/8. These are going to typically be like for fuel lines. So today we're going to do a brake line flare. Again, 3/16. We can see that one is, where is it? It's right there. It's going to be the smallest one of them all. So this is going to be the most common. Really not too much to this tool. Wing nuts. Okay, if you slide this one, it's going to open up and allow you to put your piece of brake line in there. And on the inside, if you can see that, I think you can, there's little teeth in here. Okay, you can probably hear that. And over the years, if you use the tool enough, they're just simply going to wear out. You're going to go ahead and put your brake line in there. You'll see me do that shortly. Clamp it down, and as you're making your flare, that brake line might push through there. So I'll give you a couple ideas, or at least one, on maybe how to cope with that. So this is what I like to do: is put the tool in the vise. Okay, we don't have to kill it. Okay. So my tool's all securely set. I'll go ahead and take that piece of 3/16 of an inch brake line, and we want to make sure that it fits in the corresponding slot. Remember I told you just a few moments ago, 3/16, make a match. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in there just to hold it temporarily. I'm not done. Hang on. I like to take my file, okay, and kind of clean up a little bit, you know, right around the top, because after you cut your brake line with your brake line cutting tool, okay, usually it leaves a little bit of that metal flashing around there, and you can use this deburring tool, which is in that kit. Clean it up a little bit. You're not drilling it out, okay, you're not countersinking, you're just cleaning up some of that additional flashing. And then I'll go ahead and I'll take my file and just kind of scrape away some of that flashing that was left on there. Now, do keep in mind also that there were some metal fragments that did go down inside of that brake line, and so we don't want to contaminate the brake system. So I highly recommend that you take a little bit of some shop air on your blowgun and just sort of blow that out of there before you install it on the car. A lot of rubber parts inside the braking system, and we don't want little tiny particles of metal floating around in the hydraulic brake system. Okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to select the correct size bit here from our kit, and those are these little devils right here, all right? And I'm going to try and get a nice close shot so that you can see. I think you can. Right on there is going to be labeled 3/16 at the top, and of course that's the diameter of this right here, okay? This little dowel, all right? And let's go through this, because this is also going to be used as a measuring gauge. So I'm going to lower you down so you can get a nice view. And I'm making sure I'm taking my time on this video so as not to cut out any of the details like I did last time. Again, I'm so sorry. So let's get you in there nice and close. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my bit here. Okay, this is going to be step one, and I got my 3/16 bit. I'm going to set it flat right on my flaring tool. I'm going to loosen my wing nuts just enough to go ahead and drop my piece of brake line to be flared down in there. And how much of this brake line needs to stick out? Well, this is your answer. Okay, if you look at this bit, it has two shoulders to it, 1 and 2. Okay, this part right here is our gauge. This is the amount of that brake line that has to stick through, okay, right there. So we go ahead and we set it flat, and if you need to, get down to level with that bit, and this way you can kind of gauge a little bit better. So I got down, couldn't really see that in the video, but I got down to eye level right here, and I looked straight across, and I made sure that the material of my brake line that's sticking out is a spot-on match for that first shoulder on that flaring bit. Okay? So that's what we need to do first. Okay? We went ahead and we put the proper amount of material in there. Okay? And what I was talking about just a few moments ago is over time, what may happen is some of the teeth may wear out inside of that tool, and if that happens, once you start making your flare, it may push that line down. Okay, so I know I don't really like to say this, but I'm going to anyhow. So here comes this right here. I'm going to stick that in there and just gently snug up, okay, my wing nuts just a little bit, okay, and that makes sure that it's in there tight. Notice I didn't overdo it. There weren't veins popping out of my neck. I didn't bend this because let's face it, some of us, we just don't have the hand strength to make these tight enough. And of course, over the years, I don't have it yet, but arthritis may set in, especially for us older mechanics, and we just can't get those tight enough. So just a suggestion anyhow. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do that first step of our flare. So we're going to go ahead and take that bit. I already measured the proper amount of material sticking through. Now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put that dowel right down into the center of that brake line. Okay, and what that dowel does is it keeps the tool from wandering all over the place. Okay, it's going to keep this bit nice and centered. Okay, go ahead and install. All right, your clamp over top, and make sure that the point right here on this tool goes right in the middle of the dimple on that bit. That's going to keep that from wandering around too. I'll turn that tool a little bit to the side just to keep the teeth from coming off. Okay, and I'm on there solid. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead. Let's tighten this down. So this is, remember this is a double flare. So this is going to be the first part of our flare. So step one of our double flare. Make sure you can see that. I'm just still tightening, and I can feel it bottom out. Now, okay, that's when you stop. Don't put a cheater pipe over this and pull on it. That's not going to be necessary. Just go until it doesn't go anymore, and that's it. Stop. Okay, now go ahead and remove that clamp. We're not done with it yet. Remember, I said there's 2 steps to this. So we're going to take our bit out. Okay. And I'm done with my bit, so we can put that away. Now what I want you to look at, okay, very carefully here, so I'm going to bring you in, is go ahead and take a look at that first step, okay, of that double flare. And you can see that the material, let me grab a piece here that hasn't been flared. So you can see that material, okay, which had started out like that. Remember, it was perfectly round, and look what happened to it after that first step. It mushroomed over and it filled up right around here. You can see this little bevel or chamfer, so that all of that metal, during my first step, I pushed it down into this chamfer, and it gives you a mushrooming effect. So they call it a double flare, so that's step 1. Okay, we still have to perform step 2. And you know what? This is the part that I actually cut out of the last video. I filmed it, okay, but I filmed it and I uploaded it so doggone quickly because I had so many asking for it that I apologize, it got cut out. So step 2, all right, is I'm going to take my clamp again. The point of my clamp's going to go, again, right into the middle of that flare. So this is step 2, gang. Put it right in there. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and just tighten up my clamp. Let me move you back here. I don't want to knock my camera over. And same as step 1. Okay, I'm just going to tighten that down. Okay, whoop. Make sure we're nice and straight first. Now we're cooking. Okay, and again, don't overdo it. Just using my hand, no cheater bar. I'm not even using both my hands, I'm just using one hand. Okay. I wish there was a torque or a gauge I could put on there to tell you exactly how much, but if you notice that you have veins coming out of your neck while you're doing this, then you're applying too much force. Stop. Okay. Just go with one hand until that tool can't go anymore. If this right here, the handle begins to bend, then you're using too much force, okay? Take it easy. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and remove this tool. Take a clamp off. Now you get to see the finished product. That's the best part. Okay. And we're done with our clamp. We're probably going to need to go ahead and use the end of this to just sort of loosen up our wing nuts. Okay. Oop. Still a little tight. There we go. There we go. Let's see what we've done. Okay, so now we've got the finished product right here. So this is the one that I just did. And there's the factory flare. Can you tell the difference? I sure can't. Okay, so that was done on a machine, and we just did this together right here. You can't tell any difference. All right, so that's going to be our double flare. All right, again, I apologize for cutting that section out, but I did want to add one more little bit into this. Okay, and that's just going ahead and doing a little bit of bending with that brake line that we talked about earlier, because I did have a few people send me some comments that they'd like to be able to see how to bend some of that brake line. So let's go ahead and do that. So I just grabbed a piece of brake line, and this tool right here is available. You can buy them at Napa, pretty much any part store. Some are going to look a little bit different than others. This is a KD tool. It's a tubing bending tool, but it's kind of a little bit too busy for me. I sort of like easy. This is like my ninja bender because it's sort of like a nunchuck. You probably hurt yourself with it too. Anyhow, so over the years I've just become really, really happy with using this one. So anyhow, let's go ahead and bend. The problem is, when you try and bend brake line with your fingers, and I'm going to do it. I don't recommend you do it when you're going to put it on a car, but you know, I can probably use my thumb and get it, oh, see, there it kinked, all right? And that's what's going to happen to you if you don't use a tubing bender. So I just wanted to make a 90-degree bend. Yeah, I went a little bit over. It's pretty sad, actually. So let's go ahead and make another 90-degree bend with our bending tool. So what we'll do is just insert the brake line. It has some different sizes. Okay. Select the one that fits best. We'll put it in there. And watch this. Watch the magic. It even has a nice little gauge on the side. I move it over to 90. And look at that. It's just like artwork. And of course, we never have to worry about kinking the line. So this is what I recommend doing. And you know, I've been out there in the field as a tech for 25 years, and this is just the way that I've gotten used to do it. Whenever I put brake lines on a car, I'm kind of insistent that they look like artwork. So anyhow, I'll make sure that the full video gets uploaded this time. Again, I apologize.